Right, meanwhile, Wycombe have put plans on hold to buy the training ground at fellow League One side Reading. News emerged last week that Reading FC were in talks with Wycombe over the sale of Bearwood Park, which led to protests from Reading fans, which we all witnessed, didn't we? Rob Jones has joined me now. Good to see you. I know you like a cheesecake as well. But
Certainly do like a cheesecake, yeah.
Yeah, let's not get into that. Look, why have Wycombe, though, have put this on hold, these plans?
It's not so much, I think, a case of putting it on hold as the fact that they don't really have any other option, because even if they bought the training facility, they wouldn't be allowed to train there because those are the rules within the documentation about how Reading's training ground is used. Some documentation emerged over the course of the weekend explaining that. So there's quite a long statement from Wycombe. As you rightly referenced at the top of it, it says we're putting on hold the provision for funding to Reading Football Club and the acquisition of the Bearwood Park training facility. But the real key detail is actually the penultimate paragraph of the club statement on the Wycombe website, which is Wycombe Wanderers Football Club and Feliciana, which is the investor in Wycombe, have to put on hold the discussions and ongoing due diligence due to seeming planning limitations allowing only Reading FC to use the training ground. So, to my mind, this isn't putting it on hold. The documents say it.
Why would you want to buy it if you can't train there?
Exactly. So the documents say it. The documents aren't going to change. So in theory, that should be the end of the story, which is a story that developed very quickly last week from Reading saying we're open to selling our training ground. Then on Thursday night, it emerged that the potential buyers would be their League One rivals, Wycombe. As you mentioned, there was then a very peaceful protest from Reading supporters on Friday night before their game on Saturday evening. A little bit of digging has clearly been done over the course of the weekend, and that digging has provided the evidence that, well, Wycombe won't be training there because, quite simply, they can't train there. So Reading can potentially now look for other people to buy their training ground, and Wycombe are back to square one.
OK, so other people potentially, it would work out for them, you think? So that's what I'm saying. How would it work out? So where does this leave Reading in terms of selling it and all?
Well, the key for Reading is that the club had said last week that the money that they were bringing in, around £20 million, we think that Wycombe were going to buy this training ground for, that part of that money was going to be used to fund an around £1 million shortfall for March to pay salary, to pay the existing bills that Reading have with HMRC. So now the race is on for Reading to try and find themselves a little bit more funding from elsewhere, because the big key from the club's perspective is if they can get through March's payroll, they will avoid going into administration this season, losing 12 points, which would almost certainly, despite how hard Ruben Sellers and his team are fighting, lead to another relegation down to League Two. The contrasting point is, having had discussions last week, is that potential buyers who backed out of negotiations last week because the training ground didn't come as part of the deal. But if the training ground comes as part of the package now to buy Reading, some of those potential investors might well return to the table.
I understand now. Thank you.